Saturday, 21st of June, 2025 at 11:54 a.m. here in the proper city of Snohomish, Washington, United States of America. Welcome once again to our cosmic journey. It is the Dev and Design podcast highlighting how two Summer Solstice boys made the world's best astrology software. I am Summer Solstice boy Jake. He is Summer Solstice boy Trey. Hello, Trey.
Hello, Jake.
Looks like you have a little hat on with this black thing.
I know. I was trying to center myself.
Trying to center yourself here. Let's get you solo. Let's get you. Yeah, you look like I was going to say a grand wizard, but that's a KKK thing.
It's very hard to align my head on this thing.
You look very well. Now you look very short. You look like a little munchkin.
With the big hat.
With the big, you're little munchkin, big hat. Anyways, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good. It's kind of rainy and overcast here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest.
It's the normal type of January that we expect here.
Yeah, exactly. Happy solstice.
Happy solstice. That happened yesterday, but I think I'm going to spend my solstice reflection time right after this. Very excited about that.
Yeah.
Are you doing anything for solstice? Okay.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to be doing after this video, I'm going to be doing some, as we say, get your life right.
Yes.
Trying to get through some task stuff and just kind of realigning, I suppose.
Just remember, there are three folds of work. There is the work, planning the work, and the unplanned work. And so it's planning the work is part of the journey. This is cycle 92, which means this is episode 92. We are 2 cycles behind our promise of giving you software, and we're still not there. It's called Jumpstart. So we will show you the first run setup that has been all wired up now. I have some drawings of perspective that I would like to show you to show what the cards, the list, and the details. Actually, I didn't do the details, so the cards and the list would look like. Trey has never seen those, so you will probably get a very raw, angry reaction from him.
I already hate them.
So feel free to tune in there. If that happens, we'll be posting about it. Trey already hates them. But before we get to all of that, and we give you thanks for your lovely attention, let's always start with the check-in question. Mr. Jake, go for it. I forgot it was mine. So we're in solstice time, which means that the sunlight is pouring in with maximum sunlight. That means that you can't hide in the shadows. Where do you feel the most exposed right now, in a good or uncomfortable way?
Most exposed. I mean, I think it just has to be the thing that's most on my mind from an exposure perspective right now is just that we thought that we would have delivered software by now, and we have not, and are still, I think, a little further away than we would like to be. And so I think that's kind of the big thing. Fortunately, I think that everybody that's currently paying attention. I'm looking up here because we're right across.
We're right across from each other.
We don't have the third.
We don't have the camera over there, so you're only getting this shot today.
Yeah, but most of the people I think that are supporting us and paying attention right now are wonderful and patient people, and so everybody's been just great about it. But it does feel like I was hoping we would be further along by this point. Yeah. But this stuff just takes time. So we're working hard. That's all we can say.
Yeah. Although I will say that this week I didn't probably work as hard on Cosmic as I wanted to or needed to.
But that's okay because the implementation is way out ahead of you are not the long pole at this point.
Exactly.
Like you are not slowing us down. It's engineering that's slowing us down at the moment.
Perfect. Also, we didn't mention this last week. We have an engineering intern. His name is Gavin. Once he feels comfortable being on camera and he has something to show, we're going to put Gavin probably, he'll be right down there, I'm guessing. So Gavin, you have a place here. We'll see. He's probably sleeping right now. Oh, it's 11:59 a.m. Maybe he's sleeping. I don't know. But Gavin.
No. He's doing his day job.
Oh yes, yeah. So he of course has a day job. We of course pay big bucks here for internships, and it's the same salary we get. So that's great. So you're feeling a little exposed about the product. I'm feeling also a little bit exposed about the product as well, but I feel exposed in the marketing way. And there's something about marketing. Okay, go with me on this one. In order to, the normal way of getting yourself out there when you're doing a new thing is to put up a web page that talks a little bit about what you're doing and connect to people in the community that want to like the thing that you're doing, even if it's not done yet. We've done a webpage where we've landed people on there. We've got a newsletter from Trey's days of doing Urania, but we haven't connected to new folks yet. And part of that is going to be social media marketing. And I have a lot of problems with social media marketing, mostly because I feel the same type of shame or what's the word for that? Where your imposter syndrome. I feel the same kind of imposter syndrome where all I feel like people are going to do is judge us for not doing the thing that we said we're going to do, whether it was the Cycle 90 thing. Like, it's been 90 weeks of doing this, 92 weeks, and we still have nothing to put in people's hands. And that
takes time.
There's judgment that goes with that. And for as much as you want to say no one's judging you, actually everybody's judging you. And that's fine, because the thing that I've learned from this book, which is called The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, is that people are talking crap about you behind your back, and it's absolutely fine. Everybody believes that you are doing, like, they don't do this all the time, but they love you, they care about you, but they believe you're doing the wrong thing. They believe you have the wrong friends. They believe that you are barking up the wrong tree. I guarantee you that my family has no interest in me being part of, like, working on astrology. They find it to be wholly objectionable, but, like, that's fine.
Or at best a waste of time.
At best a waste of time. And that's fine. And part of what has been so shining a light on me about this is that the reason why I haven't been on social media or done anything meaningful in social media has to do with the fact that I'm afraid of marketing. I'm afraid of marketing because I feel like a fraud. You know, like, I feel like I post something and it's like, who cares? Why would anyone care? Who are you to post anything about this kind of thing anyways? And so I'm getting over that. This book is helping me immensely in getting over that. So you will see from me a whole new set of social media accounts on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on...
Oh yeah, you should put them up.
You will see them. We'll have a list of things that you can subscribe to. I am Hey Jake Z, Z-E-E, on Instagram now. I'm on Threads. What is Threads? It's kind of like Blue Sky, but bad. Oh. I'm on Blue Sky. We'll be doing Reels. We'll be doing Shorts. Why? Because we are also battling in the attention economy. And even if no one has any interest in this, you have to give them something. You have to do your best presentation, put your best foot forward about something to give them something to care about. Otherwise, it's just like, you didn't even try, so how do you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's interesting that your answer to what you feel exposed about is a lack of exposure.
Yeah, it's funny. For as much as I am a show-off and confident, outwardly confident, I have a lot of deep-seated feelings about, like, fraud and imposterness that comes with all of this stuff.
Yeah. And, like, it's good to talk about too, because I think it's just something that everybody experiences.
I think so too.
We also talked about, I think in the past we talked about the worries around shipping something. Like, there's a pressure both to get something shipped, but also the pressure of, what if we ship something bad, or what if we ship something that people don't like? Which is going to be true. It's going to necessarily be true for some number of people. It's especially going to be true at the beginning when we're missing a bunch of stuff, and there's going to be issues that we don't know about, and all of these things. And there's it's extreme vulnerability to put something out there. And I've experienced that with everything that I've ever released, both with companies and on my own.
Yeah.
And so
But I have to tell you, you made Urania back in 2020. Yeah. And I was searching through old emails because I have access to Trey's corporate email address and personal email address, because I mostly have to fix his calendar. And I did searches, and I found a correspondence you had with Chris Brennan back in 2020. And he had questions about what you were doing with Urania, but was genuinely excited about what you were doing. And I was like, look, for as much as we say people don't care, the most exposed and luminous people in the community also do care. So that's scary as well. Anyways, I'm just babbling now. Read this book. Do it. It's great.
I feel like we should just have a book recommendation or like a media.
We have done this before.
Yeah, I know, but we've done it so many times that I think that we should actually just have a segment of the show, which is like what do you call it? The content river.
The content river.
Yeah, row your boat on the content river.
Look, there's going to be a whole separate video that's probably just me talking about the content river that has nothing to do with cosmic, because the content river is hugely important to your sanity and getting things done. Another passion of mine. We'll talk about that later. But let's get to the meat of what you're here for, which is that good Devin design astrology content. Mr. Henry, you've wired things up and have things going for the first run experience. Do you want to talk a little bit about, like, just give us an introduction, then we'll go to your screen and take a look at it.
Yeah, it's basically a bit of what you showed last cycle, but now it all works, which is the job of engineering. And there was a lot of unexpected work in that process because we weren't persisting settings, and we kind of had a bunch of sloppy stuff around settings just generally anyway. And it's non-trivial setting up a first run experience. So I spent most of this week actually working on that, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. So let's just jump right in. Yeah, you saw this already. This part hasn't changed, but when we go to continue, we see our choose theme. Right now, I can only show you simple dark and stellar dark because we have a bug with the theme dropdown. So if I pick one of the light ones, the theme dropdowns don't work, which would be a slight problem.
We're fixing that.
That's being fixed. But let's just...
The intern is on that one.
Yeah.
Get it, Gavin. Go get it.
Yeah, go get it, Gavin. Okay, so we'll just do simple dark. So now we have actual perspectives wired up here.
These things have little short descriptions underneath them, and then when you click them, they show the long description underneath them. That eventually will be replaced by the work that I'm doing when it comes to the objects. So we'll see that in a second, the sketchy designs of those things.
Yeah, so this is basically just showing that all of the parts work of it, and I kind of put placeholder stuff in there for now. But I do want to show that it is actually working as well. So I'll pick, I'll pick modern. And then,
we should do that with CJ Record. We love you. You seem to be the person that engages the most with us. We're choosing modern just for you.
Yeah, just for you.
If you're here, CJ Record, let us know.
We'll say that CJ Record is in New York City. And so you could set the default location. Jake showed this already. Oh, there was another thing that I wanted to show here too, which is that before you select a value, these are now disabled. These buttons are now disabled. So it kind of forces you into this flow. So we'll pick a default location. We'll go next. And then I'll just put in my birth details and then finish. And so now it drops us into the chart. We have a birth chart showing my birth details. It's showing currently birth location.
But of course, you could change that by clicking on that.
I can. But
is that wired up?
Yeah. But we can go. So if I come back here and I say cast new chart, then you'll see that it's being cast
from the default
location. So that's working. If I say a chart for right now, it's also picking that location. And then, like you said, I can change this, for example.
The spacing got off on that one when you click that, but we'll fix that.
Yeah. There's a couple of issues here still. And this I just opened a thing up to wire this up now that we actually have these settings and the settings are actually being persisted.
Nice.
So all of those settings that you set during that first run experience are, let me just go through this one more time. Because what I want to show is that if I pick, so we just did modern, if I pick Hellenistic, for example, and then I can say blah, and I'll just do that. You can see that we're only showing the 5 planets now, and we're using whole sign houses. And if I go back here and I cast a chart for now, we're still using whole sign houses. So
because that is your perspective.
That's your perspective. Yeah, exactly. So It sets your default perspective. It uses that default perspective for chart casting. It creates your natal chart. None of the chart persistence stuff is in there yet, so it doesn't actually save your natal chart for later. This is a big step forward in the application remembering what you did. So yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's one of the bigger chunks that we needed to do in order to make sure that this was a workable product that made sense. You have to do some reasonable defaults to start. We need you to have a perspective, which is a bundle of calculation types and points shown and things like that, like aspects you care about. We needed you to set a default location so that when you always cast a new chart, you will have that default location. We need you to set a theme because we've worked so hard on these 4 themes, all of that stuff. And then we needed to show off the product, get to the point of putting a birth moment in. So I'm glad that's all done. So yay!
Yeah.
More to come. You still need aspects. You still need probably other calculation method settings that are in there.
We need a chart that actually functions.
A chart that functions, a chart that separates its points, but you also need a way in which to glance at a perspective and understand the perspective object and see what is in there. So let's go to my drawings now. Okay, this is the card. This is the card design. You would think after 92 episodes, I knew that everything is weird. Eventually, I'll get it. I promise you. This is the card design for the perspective object. It is in flight. I say that not for you, dear viewer, but rather for Mr. Henry to not lose his mind. So what this is showing you again on the way left-hand side are the attributes that we care most about. The CTAs, or the calls to action, on the left-hand side are also put in there, but we don't put any CTAs on this card, so don't worry about that. And then we have a mini card and a grid card. We're going to talk a little bit about what this looks, and a list card at the bottom. We're going to talk a little bit about what this looks like. First of all, let's take a look at the mini card. You will see here that I had this idea that the perspective name was really important, but then I realized the perspective name is always going to be some combination of the astrological tradition, the house system displayed, and the points that we show. So I'm actually wondering whether the perspective name even makes sense, or perspective description. We'll talk about that later. But you can see here, for example, if you are of the astrological tradition Hellenistic and you care about the house system of whole sign and you want points that are the inners, the angles, and we'll say the lot of spirit and the lot of fortune, this is what this first card would look like here, where it says, there's this icon showing Hellenistic. I don't know what that icon is right now. There is some iconic way of showing these wedges. So these wedges are in whole sign. And these points, I'm saying inners, angles, and then it has this thing that's called a line clamp. You truncate a thing with ... So basically it's clamped so that it doesn't run off the screen. And the idea here is that if you were to have all of the inners in your perspective, we would just say inners. If you have all of the angles, and actually I don't even think you can do a portion of the angles, we would just say angles. If you have all of the outers, we would say outers. If you have only a couple of them, what we would do is instead of saying inners, we would either say something like some inners, or we would just show you the inners that you have on right now versus on versus off. We would show you the icons. So this is the grid card. The grid card would show you, these are the points that you have shown. They're like, they're these, here are the angles. We're showing them iconographically. I don't know if this all fully works or not. The thing that I'm trying to do here is make this as descriptive as possible, but not overcomplicated. So what I don't want to do is show a crap ton of icons at you and for you to figure it out. Using words to say groups of things seems helpful, but I also want to make sure that it scales. So if you only care about the part of spirit and the part of fortune, but you don't care about the part of eros or the part of nemesis, that we're not saying some parts and you have to figure this all out, like what you're showing, what you're not showing, things like that.
Another important thing to point out here as well is that while this is defining sort of how we show perspectives and what we show about perspectives, the perspectives themselves, will have these like Hellenistic, Renaissance, Modern as kind of these system defaults.
Yes.
But you'll also be able to create your own,
Correct.
Name them yourself and stuff like that. So the ones that you name yourself and give descriptive names to will have even another layer of like, this is what it is, this is why I use it. Like my, electional, like Renaissance electional, or maybe traditional, or modern electional, maybe. I don't know if that's a thing. Anyway, but like, you can define them yourself, and then you can have your own descriptors for them, and then you'll be able to easily find them in a list and that kind of thing.
Exactly. This is what this is showing is the tradition, and the tradition says how you do calculations. The tradition also influences what points you would show by default, but we separate the tradition from the points, because there are times, for example, that you might be a Hellenistic astrologer, but you care very deeply about some of the outer planets. Like you care about Uranus, you care about Neptune, you care about Pluto. You could imagine that if you are a financial astrologer, I think in financial astrology, you care, as I understand it, about Pluto, about Jupiter, and about either a part or an angle. I can't remember what it is. And so this straight up might just say like Placidus houses and just show you the icon for like Jupiter, Pluto, and an angle, because that's all you care about. And it would be probably named financial. Medical astrology also may care about different things. We're trying to keep it very flexible, but the idea here is that there is a way in which you can have a basket of defaults of your calculations, your way in which you see houses, and a basket of defaults of points that are shown, but you can edit all of these things to what Mr. Henry says. And then there's a small amount of detail and then a large amount of detail.
Yeah, and also as a reminder that these are perspectives apply to what we call a moment. So while you have defaults that you can use, that the system will automatically apply if you don't specify a perspective, like during cast chart, for example. However, you could have 100 different perspectives, and you could use some perspectives on some moments, some perspective on other moments. So you can even mix and match this is just kind of how the system will try to pick the best one for you based on context.
Yeah.
But you can always say like, no, I have this perspective. This is the perspective I want to use in this particular case, or on this one moment. You could literally just have a perspective that's only for that one moment.
Yeah.
Like if you're a teacher and you wanted to just show the big three and you only use that in this one context, things like that.
The idea here is that eventually people will be sharing charts with one another. And so my expectation is that CJ Record will be a subscriber, a member of the system. CJ Record will send us stuff. And when we look at his charts, when he sends us his charts, they will come with his perspective.
I don't know.
Their perspective. Thank you.
I don't know that we know
their perspective, what they care about. I did not ask your gender. That's okay. I apologize for that. Their perspective. And if I want to take the moments that they created within their chart and then change it to my perspective, I can do that. And I can switch back and forth between their perspective and my perspective. And it's there so that we can better communicate what we care about as astrologers, as astrological practitioners. Have those things that I care about go with you, as opposed to always having to dig through settings and change all of that stuff. Yeah. We are expecting people to be multimodal, multidiscipline practitioners.
Yeah.
They are using different perspectives for different things in their lives. If I'm doing horary astrology, I care mostly about Lily and how Frowley talks about horary astrology. That's Regiomontanus. That is a certain set of points. That's a certain set of aspects that we care about. That's different than my natal work. That's just one of the things that we're assuming as part of this software.
Yeah, we always were designing for, we're trying to make the software match what we believe is actually happening in the field, which is that people are mixing and matching everything.
Yeah.
And so we want the software to allow you to do that in the richest, best experience way possible.
And imagine you are a magical practitioner, you create talismans, and you want to create a talisman for Venus. And all you want to do is focus on Venus and the moon. So you create a perspective to say, I only care about Venus and the moon in these, and this house system, for example. And all you're doing is moving through time, looking at Venus and the moon. And you're like, this seems like it could be a good idea. You change to another perspective to see what the rest of the planets look like and things like that. Moon is not void, of course. Venus looks pretty good. All right, this might be a good candidate. Thinking about that as well. We heard that quite a bit as well. Okay, that is all for that. Mr. Henry, I believe that wraps us on things that we want to talk about today. What should the good viewer do with their summer solstice time?
Stay hydrated, It might be hot out there.
Stay hydrated. That's why I got my coffee. Definitely a hydration device. Be well, take care. Thank you for joining us this weekend or whatever day you watch this episode. We love that you come every week. We love you very much. We hope you have a wonderful week. Take care. We'll see you next one. Bye.
Bye.